Hey everybody, it's Mike Zito. Happy Monday to you. Welcome to the 2020 Galaxywide Songwriters Workshop. Uh, Thank you to the Bart Howard Foundation for having me and for doing this virtual Songwriters Workshop. We've had some great guests over the past month or so, and we have a great guest today. He's a fantastic singer, songwriter, guitar player. He's Americana, blues, jazz. He's really genre all over, whatever works. He's got a fabulous voice and he's a great songwriter. He's from North Carolina. I hope you enjoy Mr. Seth Walker. Okay, there we are. Hey, this is Mike Zito, and this is the 2020 Galaxy-wide Songwriters Workshop. It's Galaxy-wide because it's Fly Me to the Moon by Bart Howard. And we have a wonderful singer, songwriter, guitarist, friend of mine, world class, Mr. Seth Walker. Hi, Seth.
Hey, Mike. Good to see you.
It's good to see you too. You look very good.
Thank you, baby.
You got
You
a
too.
space shirt on, I saw.
Oh, yeah.
One of our favorite spots, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I know.
Where are
A
you
long
hanging
walk.
at it right now?
I'm in Nashville, Tennessee right now.
That's a good place for songwriting.
Yeah. This is the second time that I moved here. I moved here originally. Well, I'm from North Carolina originally. Then I went to Austin, Texas for 15 years. And then I moved to Nashville in 2008, I guess. And then moved to New Orleans for 6 years. And now I'm back.
Yeah, I
Bring me
like
back.
Nashville. I moved to Nashville in, oh gosh, 1996 or 95.
Hmm. Oh,
Part of
really?
me
Oh,
still thinks I wish I would have stayed.
yeah.
I didn't stay. I stayed a year.
It's changed so much, much
Yeah,
like Austin in a way. I don't recognize it from when I lived here even in 2008. It's
sure.
kind of an amoeba.
And
Yeah,
so, like everybody else, of course, I mean, I know the answer, but
yeah,
you're just kind of hanging out during this time.
yeah.
Not a lot going on.
Not much. My last gig was on March 8th, up in Des Moines. So I've just been hunkered down and yeah. I mean, it's trying to honestly kind of reinvent myself in a way.
Yeah.
Um,
Are you writing songs?
I'm writing some. Hold on one second. My dog's going crazy.
Oh, I love it.
uh,
You love dogs.
all right, what's up, Rob? How you doing? This is Chloe. I've actually been writing a book. Actually,
Wow.
I'm working on some memoirs and essays, just road lore,
Yeah, that's
stories,
great.
yeah, stories and some poems and things. So that's been um, a really fun for me. Just a different idiom, but still so connected to writing songs.
Sure.
The poems, especially with that, just some of that rhythm thing, and
Yeah, that's wonderful.
yeah. So I'm doing a little bit of songwriting too, but it is a very strange thing for us in that this has been our whole identity for so
Right.
long. It's
Do
all
you
wrapped.
find that it's a little harder to write songs right now because we're used to taking our songs and going out and performing them, and you think, well, why am I writing a new song? Because I may not perform it. Is it kind of daunting like that? Like, what's the
Yeah, I haven't really analyzed it that much, um, but I guess you're right. It's kind of like that's kind of our incubator.
yeah, like
Uh,
what are we writing for?
yeah, yeah. I mean, I've written a few, but um, the essay the book that I'm doing is kind of taken over in that way. But I think that through working on this book and for the first time I'm studying some of the great poets. I know that stuff is going to come back into my songwriting when the muse strikes me with the songs again.
Yeah, okay, that's great. That's perfect. So, this workshop's been really fun. And I remember when I was asked to do it, I thought, gosh, I'm not the greatest songwriter or anything. And she said, no, but maybe you can find something interesting. So, we assume most people that are going to watch that are watching this are people that would like to learn to write a song. Like
Hmm.
you can imagine, they've never written a song before
Yeah.
and they want to write a song. So I think that's a great jumping off point.
Mhm.
So you're doing something different. You're reading something you've never read before, and you're
Mhm.
thinking that maybe this is going to come back as a part of your songwriting. For so maybe someone that's never written a song before, um, that's a good way to maybe get started. Maybe immerse yourself in some other art forms, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And is that something you've ever done before?
Um, I'm not a crazy avid reader, but I've always read. Um,
But you ever gone to like an art museum or something and thought, oh, I'm going to write a song?
oh yes. Case in point, I took a trip to Havana, Cuba. This was probably around 2 years ago. It was a music trip. Ruthie Foster and I were going to go down there and perform some concerts. This guy named Eric Nadel, speaking of baseball,
Yeah,
Eric Nadel is
I
the,
know Eric. Yeah,
of course, you know Eric. Yeah. He's the voice of the Texas Rangers baseball team.
yeah, yeah.
And this trip up for Ruthie and I. And about 3 days before we got there, Fidel Castro had died. And so they banned music for 9 days, like in memorial of him, in memory of him. And so all of our concerts were canceled. So we just went to art galleries, things of this nature, and we went out to the farmlands and stuff. But in particular, getting back to your question, I bought a painting. It's actually hanging right back there. I'll bring it up in a second.
Oh, cool.
It's a painting of here. I'll get it. One second.
All right.
It's a painting I bought from a local artist, and it's a painting of a guy holding an umbrella, but the raindrops are all inside of him. If you can see
Oh,
that,
yeah, that's great.
it's really cool, and it's called Inside. And the piece really struck me, and it's a wood print. And I came home to New Orleans and just wrote this poem about it. I mean, not a poem. Yeah, yes, a poem. Not thinking it was going to be a song at all. And later on, I found this sound check. Sometimes I record. I don't know if you do this, but I record our sound checks. Sometimes we'll get into a good
Sure.
groove. And I was like, and I just kind of turned it on and just kind of started kind of singing these lyrics, these poem stanzas over that groove, and it became a song on my newest album.
And what's it called?
It's called Inside. The name of the song is called
Great.
Inside. So they really do songs. This was particularly a new process for me in the songwriting, but they do come in strange forms, don't they?
They do. And that would have brought my other thing is probably how old were you when you maybe started to write a song?
I was probably my first stab at something was I was probably about 22.
Yeah. Do you remember at all what you were writing about? Was it a girl or
I'm sure it was.
yeah.
Um, um,
Well, that's
yeah,
interesting because that's obviously that's the when that's a common answer. But
yeah,
as we get older, of course, we're always influenced by love or anything. But you start to look around, huh, and find that there's other things like why limit ourselves to just
yeah,
the experience we might have, but go and try to find some new experiences.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, honestly, the first things I ever were writing were I was just copying. Um, I was listening to at the time a lot of old jump blues and swing tunes and things, and some jazz tunes like "Fly Me to the Moon," and listening to tunes like that. And so I was just trying to emulate some of those things. And then it was around 2003. A friend of mine, Mark Hayes, really great drummer who worked with me for a long time, he gave me a copy. He gave me Guy Clark CD, a Nick Lowe CD, and a John Hyatt CD. And
Good.
he said, Seth, I want you to listen to these and really pay attention to how much how much craft is put into these songs. And it and it's been, I mean, those three guys kind of, really sprungboard me into all kinds of different songwriters.
Yeah.
And I started to kind of, or at least aspire to pay a little more attention to the lyric and on the feeling and a complete thought.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fantastic. And we've talked about this too. Again, thinking of someone that's never written a song,
Hmm.
you know, blues or country, some good 3-chord,
Yeah.
simple progression is a great, it's a great place to start if you've never written a
Yes.
song, to write a line and then write a repeating line, and use that format. And I think we all kind of do that. You kind of emulate some kind of a format that works to write some
Yeah.
of the first songs.
Yeah.
But like I always say, it's really easy to write a bad blues song.
Yeah.
Very easy to do. It's really hard to write a good blues song.
Yeah.
That form is a great place to start.
Hmm.
But to use that form and really try to do something more with it, I mean, you have to be on your ball game. I mean,
Yeah, you do, and you have to be. I mean, it's so easy. It's such a slippery slope. You can get so cliche so quick, especially in the blues idiom. So you have to be. Um, I guess one word to use is efficient. With it.
yeah. And if you're going to write, well, my baby left me. Well, did she?
Yeah. Yeah.
She or not? Do you find that when you write your songs, um, either I'm sure you've written plenty that are about personal experience,
Hmm. Yeah.
or if you're writing about something, you got to find a way to connect to these lyrics, because you're probably writing mostly you're the artist, correct?
Yes. Hmm.
So you're writing with your voice in mind. And I'm
Hmm.
sure over the years you found that, well, I need to be able to sing this good.
Yeah. Well, if I don't believe it, no one else will.
Wow.
And it's you fall in and out of love with these tunes. You change.
Yeah,
Uh, and there's been so many tunes that I believed
sure.
once upon a time, and I've kind of changed. Um, but they do, and that's a good thing that you're changing. I
Yeah.
think if you're not if you're too comfortable in your songwriting, that cannot be a good thing either. Um, but I was thinking the other day about someone else was asking me about songwriting, and it's for me. Um, it can come in a couple different ways. It can come with a lot of times it comes with the melody first, um, and I'll get this melody and I'll start kind of speaking in tongues. You probably do this too. You just kind of start mumbling
Sure.
something, and then it's almost stream of consciousness. And oftentimes the mumble, this unconscious place that you are, will spring a little saying or just a little seed
Yeah.
of something. That happens to me sometimes. Other times it's a lot more literal. It's a lot more just with the turn of phrase that I might hear or.
Right. Do you ever find that you'll maybe get like a theme or a title? And you get some kind of I
Yeah.
always think of like like a marquee at a movie theater. Like I get like a
Yeah.
title. And I'm
Hmm.
like, oh, what's that about? I wonder what,
Yeah.
you know,
I
let's
mean,
see.
yeah, a good song is always at the mercy of a good idea.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So, with all the songs, you've had such great success. Tell us the name of the new album, the newest album.
It's called Are You Open?
Are You Open? And that came out last year. Is that correct?
Came out in, yeah, it was around February of 2019.
Seems like 10 years ago.
Sure it does. Oh my gosh.
Well, that's
Crazy.
great. And so, of course, if anybody wants to get any of your great music, I'm sure you could go to sethwalker.com and maybe there's like a store there. Or,
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's all on my
I always
website.
encourage that. Of course, there's other ways you can listen. If we want you to hear the music, but if
Yeah.
they order a CD from you or something, you might even be able to sign it for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, I wanted to mention on that note of song titles kind of coming to you in strange ways. The the album "Are You Open?" That song was. I was in New Orleans and I have a bookshelf and I used to kind of fancy myself as a tennis player, and
Okay.
I loved Andre Agassi. I got the haircut and everything. He has a book, a really great autobiography book. It's called Open, and I was just I was just strumming, and that just those four letters were staring at me.
Yeah, yeah.
Open, and it it really, I don't know, it really struck me, and because I as a songwriter, this is my 11th album of music, and a lot of times you can pigeonhole yourself, and you find out what works, and you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? You kind of
sure,
go
you
to
stay
the
in
same
that box. Yeah.
the same old stuff. And I remember asking myself if I was open to trying to challenge myself and ultimately challenge my listeners and my fans into maybe another side of my music that I wasn't even aware of, and see if they would go along and
Right, right.
go on the journey together. And that song, "Are You Open?" kind of was the root of the whole theme of the album, which turned into this exploration, if you will. So
And
songs themselves, a song can actually,
totally. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Be the whole focal point of a whole
yeah,
uh like you said, exploration. Can you
yeah.
tell us on this record, so musically, like what do you think is new about it for Seth Walker?
Um, well, musically, it drew from um, it definitely drew some of the grooves grew from my time in New Orleans. Some of these, a lot of these, there was some trancey kind of, these funky trancey kind of grooves.
Yeah,
One chord grooves. There's about 3 or 4 songs that's just one chord on that album,
yeah, yeah.
which really made room when there's not as much chordal stuff going on. It made room for the lyric. Um,
Yeah, right,
to
right.
kind of maybe enter a new way. Um, and but probably the biggest difference, Mike, in that album is just the theme of the lyric, um, the theme of it an inward search.
Yeah, yeah. That's great.
So many of those tunes kind of have that theme.
That's
Yeah.
great. So that's a good kind of piece of advice, I think, to wrap it up is one is to always kind of be open to where the song may take you, right? I mean, you don't
Yeah.
have to write a song, oh, I have to write a blues song, or I have to write a country song. That's
No.
you could just kind of be like what's coming, you
You
know?
want to be you want to be the conduit of it. You
Yeah.
want to you if you steer it if you steer anything in your life too much, you're going to smother it.
Yeah.
You're going to run it off the rails. You have to.
Yeah.
There's actually a song on the record called "Something to Hold," and it's basically, I'm letting go, and then I'd have something to hold,
Oh, that's great.
kind of
Love
theme. Yeah,
it. Yeah.
and that's I don't know how many times. I'm sure you've experienced the same thing. You're just wrestling with the lyric, and you're just forcing
Right.
stuff, and it never.
I got to that point where if I get a song I really like and I get a couple of lines and it's like, well, that's not good. That's not going to work. And I
Mhm.
just go, that's okay. I just let that weak line sit there. This isn't done. And then I'll come back to it rather than just get too frustrated. Sometimes I just try to move on, but I know this spot right here is not finished. But that's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, that's okay. And to kind of the opposite of that is sometimes I'll get a line that I really, really love, but it won't fit. And they call that in poetry, they call that killing your darling.
Yeah.
Like you got this
Sure.
line and you just can't make it work, and so you just have to just put it aside, and maybe
Maybe it'll back for
it'll
something
come
else.
back for another. It'll come back for another song. That being said, one important thing for your listeners is just the act of writing, whether you make it a song or not.
Right.
The act of you sitting down with your pen and paper and just
Writing.
some exercises, I've done where I'll try to write for 6 minutes continuously. Don't even pick up your pencil. Literally, don't
Yeah.
pick up your pencil, and just it doesn't need to have any form, nothing.
Right.
Just almost unconscious. And you look
Don't
back
have
on
to
some of that
stand
stuff, and you're like,
for anything. Yeah.
there's a little line in there. Maybe it might be a good
Yeah.
exercise to try.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's great. Man, thank you so much for taking time to do this with us today. I
My
know
pleasure,
everybody's
Mike. Thank you.
really going to enjoy this. I hope they go and buy lots of your records since you're hanging out in Nashville and we don't have many shows right now or anything. So,
Yeah. Well, thank you, Mike.
but continued good luck and success. Hopefully, we'll see each other back out on the road sooner than later.
Absolutely, Mike.
That would be good, huh?
Let's
And
do it. Mm.
have a great day with that dog. What's your dog's name?
Her name is Chloe.
Oh yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I appreciate you, Seth.